Hello guys, welcome to the second video tutorial of our Yeoman Getapper React Generator. In the first lection we saw how to install Yeoman, how to install the generator Getapper React, and how to start up or bootstrap a project with the two basic commands yo-greact app and yo-greact init. Now in the second lection we will see how to create components with our generator, with our specific generator command, and also how to use the Material UI library. So let's start by running our project with the npm start command. Okay, project started. So we can come here in the browser, we can just give a quick refresh. And if everything works, we will see this test message here on top left. So where do we start? First of all, we can see in the index file that we have an app wrapper that takes an app children. This app is the index inside the app folder. There are some Material UI provider, some routing switch that we don't know yet what is it. So we can just leave like this for now. And here we have our test message. From now on, we can write whatever we want. We can write easy HTML tags and they will be rendered, of course. But now what we want to do, of course, is to create some React components with some logic. So let's open a terminal and we can write yo-greact comp. So the generator will prompt us by asking the component name. We can call it in an easy way like item. It can create, if we want, a separate hook file, and we can always write yes, with also a Material UI Stylesheet. This is why with our project we are automatically installing the Material UI library, as we can see in the package.json exactly here. So to standardize also the styling of the components, we are using the Material UI CSS in JavaScript styling also for all the other components. So here inside the components folder, we can see we have a couple of components that are automatically installed with our generator when we ran the init command, and this is the command, the component that we just created. This index file inside components, it is just an export index file, and as we can see, the generator already is exporting our item component here. So let's open the index of our item. Here we just have a div container, so let's make this div like this. Let's put inside a span and an anchor. Here we go. Now inside our app, we can of course call our item. WebStorm suggests us where to take this item. We can import it directly from the components because the components is exporting the item as well. And if we go to the browser, we can see now that we have this tiny here little title link without any styling that is a little bit not really readable, but at least it's working. So let's remove this stuff. Let's just create a container. Here we go. So we just put a padding inside all our content to be a little bit more readable. So let's go back in our component. We have this span that we can maybe transform in a paragraph. So in this way, at least it's a little bit more readable. And that's it, just a paragraph with a title and a link. Now, of course, maybe we want to enhance our item with some props. So let's define a name string. And here we can have the same. So instead of this title, we can use the name prop. Now, if we just save the project, as we can see here, TypeScript is telling us that something is wrong. Indeed, here we define the name, this prop name as required because we didn't put this sign, the question mark sign. But here we are using item without passing actually the name. So we can do like this. pass a name, save, And here we have our title, the test item. So this string here we are passing, it is used as a prop and everything works. We can also add something else, like the link name and maybe a URL. Okay, of course, now we should add those as well. Link name and URL. Let's add also a target blank to test our link without subscribing our page. And here, of course, we should add these props. So WebStorm again suggests us what is missing. Link name, we can write Google, and URL, we can put google.com. Let's save it. For TypeScript, everything works fine. If we put also the protocol, it will work even better. That's right. Okay, so this was the very first component. As you see here, we are writing code, but even if we write like this, we can write or not write semicolon. So in order to make the code readable and compatible with every team and have a unique styling, we include in all our project an slint and also Prettier JSON files. What are these? Slint is a linter. So the scope of the linter is to actually check that some rules are working fine, like some hook dependencies is not missing, and we will see what does it mean in details maybe later. And for Prettier instead, Prettier is taking care of everything that is not like logic stuff, but it is just styling. For example, the fact that we put a space here of 2 spaces instead of 4, that is absolutely fine with JavaScript. It is a Prettier business, or the fact that we use here a semicolon or not is Prettier stuff. Actually, to actually execute slint and Prettier every time that we modify a file, we want to go to WebStorm preferences or settings. Here we can go to slint, and as you can see, slint is already configured in WebStorm. It has an automatic reading the automatic slint configuration. But the fact is that even if slint is working and we have the suggestions, we can even flag this slint fix on save. So every time that we save a file, actually slint will run with the --fix, with the --fix parameter. In this way, slint will automatically fix all the stuff that is not working really good. Okay, slint is configured, so let's do the same with Prettier. Let's check that here the node it is selected, Prettier is selected also from our project node modules, and we want to flag this on save. So apply it. Let's put OK. Now if we go to item file, if we remove some semicolon and we save, as you can see, Prettier is automatically putting our code in a good shape by removing extra white spaces and, you know, just putting all the styling in a good way. Okay, now that we have created our first component and passed some props, we can go a little bit to check what is the hook file that it is also created. The index hooks files is already created for us by the generator with styles, that is CSS-in-JS styles created by exploiting the Material UI core styles libraries. And as you can see here, we are already creating some styles, even some classes that will see the difference. And we are also importing this hook from the styles folder that are called atomic styles. So what is this atomic styles? The name of the file is atomic because we are exploiting the CSS atomic paradigm. That means that for every CSS class we define, we just specify a single CSS rule. So what this file is doing is actually creating a style sheet where we are creating all these classes here, where every class contains just one rule. And this is really comfortable for some small fix, small layout stuff, as we will see later. So for now, we can just play a little bit like this. So let's define class name to this paragraph. Maybe we want to put an atomic styles. So by doing this .p20, I'm just defining in our paragraph a padding of 20 all around. And as you can see here, it is working as expected. If we open the inspector, we go to elements and we go to our test item, we can see that our P20 rule, it is working fine with our padding. But what if we want to specify more atomic styles? In this case, we can import the class names library. We always import like this, import cn from class names, and thanks to class names we can add more atomic styles to our paragraph. So we want padding 20 all around, but maybe we want also a margin left of 30 pixels. So if we save like this, we can check here that the classes are added, and now our component has a margin left of 30 pixels and also a padding all around of 20 pixels, as you can see here. If we want to create instead a more specific class without using a lot of atomics, we can just call styles.name. Name here it is not defined, of course. So to define name, we should go here and define it like this. And now we can specify every CSS style that we want, like again a padding 20, maybe a margin left of 30 pixels, a text align center, and this is the CSS-in-JS I was talking about. So if we save this, here the error should be gone, and if we come back here, as you can see, the padding 20 is working, the margin left as well, but this time the text is centered, is aligned in the center, and this is the final result. Of course, this is the styles, but we can also use our hook for some interaction. So, for example, we can create an on-click, on-name, click callback. And we can create a local state like counter, asset counter. We initialize the counter with 0, and every time we click on the name, we just increment our counter of 1. So here we define our callback. We can save it. We go to the items. We import what we are exporting from the hook, and here on our paragraph we can add an on-click event and assign it on name click. Yeah, of course, we have also to see what we are actually doing. So we export also the counter property, and here name counter. Let's import here the counter. Let's save it. And if we switch back here, we can see the test item is 0, but every time we click on the paragraph or our title, the counter is increasing. This is all for this session, and in the next video tutorial we will check also how to create specific components that are wrappers of Material UI ones.